We have 10 ounces of chicken breast that's diced up as even as I can get it. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Going to mix that up a little bit. 1 teaspoon of rice wine. Now if you don't want to use alcohol, just put a little water. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to put 1/8 teaspoon of salt. 1/8 teaspoon of sugar. Now, all the ingredients are going to be listed below under Show More. I'm going to give this a good little mix. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. And then we're going to mix that up until we don't see any more white specks. Alright, we got a 1/4 cup of water. The recipe is going to say chicken stock, but I didn't have any. I got 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of black vinegar. You can use a balsamic if you don't have it. Got a 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of hoisin sauce, 1 tablespoon of honey, a pinch of white pepper, and then we're going to give this a good mix and set it aside. And I've got some broccoli here. I think I probably have around 2 cups. I've already been cutting it up a little bit, trying to make everything even. Any big stalks I want to cut into smaller pieces because the stalk will never have a chance to get cooked. So anyway, that's what I'm doing right there. And to set the nice green color on my broccoli, we're just going to lightly blanch it. I'm not really cooking the broccoli, all I'm doing is setting the color. So 45 seconds later, the color is set on my broccoli. I'm going to put this into a colander. And then we're going to put our broccoli into an ice bath, get it to stop cooking. Whenever it cools down a little bit, then we're going to take it out of the ice and put it back in the colander so that it dries off, and then it will be ready for cooking. Alright, our wok's been warming up. Now we're ready for some oil. We're going to put a little bit in there. I don't like using too much. Alright, now we're going to put some ginger in here. I've got like half a tablespoon. It's roughly chopped. About the same amount of roughly chopped garlic, about half a tablespoon of that as well. And what this is doing, it's flavoring the oil. So let's add our chicken. Now whenever I add anything to a hot wok, I let it sit there for 30-45 seconds before I try to mess with it. So we're going to spread this out a little bit and then we're just going to let it sit. Alright, now that ought to have a little sear on it. Let's go ahead and we'll start stir frying this up. And what we're going to do, we're going to basically cook this chicken until it's almost done. Alright, so our chicken's been cooking for a little while. It's getting some nice color on it. If you wanted to, you could take a piece out, cut it, and make sure that you're done the way you want. But you don't want to be completely cooked. Alright, so let's go ahead and add our broccoli. Now remember, the broccoli is basically room temperature, so we've got to get it back up to temperature. Alright, so a few seconds later, we're going to add our sauce. We're going to pour that in, and we're going to want this sauce to come back up to a good rolling boil. You know, it's boiling around the edges right now, but the stuff in the center is not really boiling. So anyway, we're just going to mix it up. Any little bits we can scrape off the bottom, we're going to get that in there too. Alright, so about a minute after adding our sauce, everything's boiling really good. Now we're going to put some cornstarch slurry. It's 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of water. Now as it sat there on the counter, it hardened up again. Don't worry about it. Just take your spoon, work it, get it mixed up, and then we're just going to keep adding this in. I'm going to use it all. I don't know why I was being so silly. Anyway, we got it all in here. And you don't really have to cook the cornstarch slurry. All you do is you heat it until it does its thing. In fact, you don't even really want to heat it too long after that. When it thickens up, turn the heat off. And it doesn't add any flavor or anything like that. It's just thickens the sauce is all it's doing. And at this point, all that's left to do is to plate the dish and eat.
So, how does this dish taste, and how does it compare to the original version that I made?
Anyway, we're about to find out. Got a piece of chicken. This is definitely better, and that just shows how much I've progressed in how I cook things. But this sauce is dead on. It's got lots of flavor, but it doesn't overpower. Let's try a piece of this broccoli. Delicious.